What's up, everybody? My name is Nate. Today we're going to ask some Halo questions to my resident Halo expert, Hunter from Infinite Halo, and I have some pretty weird ones for him, so we're going to see what he has to say.
Brain juice. Yeah, thanks, Nate. What do we have today?
Alright, I feel like we should start with something a little personal, so I was wondering, what's your favorite Halo game for multiplayer?
Let me take that ball away from her real quick.
We'll be right back.
For multiplayer, hands down would have to be Halo 3. Honestly, kind of like well balanced. The weapons all fit their roles very well. I am in love with the projectile-based firing in Halo 3. I think it adds a certain level of skill to be able to lead your shots. I also think that the amount of weapons and the amount of different grenades, the brute spike grenade that has such an interesting effect. I love hopping into some Halo 3 big team battle. The Sand Trap's a good time, Valhalla is a good time. Yeah, that's my favorite.
I like that a lot. Halo 3 was actually the first game I ever had for my Xbox 360. It was a good time. I traded in my PlayStation 2 and every game I own and every accessory for it to buy an Xbox 360. And that was the only game I had for a long time. Alright, so that's how you feel about Halo's multiplayer. But since we know that, what's your favorite campaign or story basis?
Halo 2's campaign, maybe it might be a little bit of the nostalgia goggles, but honestly, Halo 2 kind of gave a really cinematic feel, or you got to see what was going on with the Covenant, your enemy from their perspective. And Halo 2 is such a good sequel in the sense that it builds off of the first game and kind of improves it, opposed to changing the initial formula. It really kind of builds on it. A lot of people argue that Halo 2's campaign is the best, and best dialogue, best characters, most interesting, whatever you want to say, but Halo 2 is my favorite Halo campaign, yes.
So, if I was to answer the same question that I just asked you, I would disagree only because I don't feel like I have the nostalgia goggles for Halo 2. For me, multiplayer is definitely Halo 5. Go fucking kill me in the comments. It's honestly mostly because that's just the only one I'm really good at. I'm not very good at the rest of them, but I can roll with a lot of the ranked players on the Halo 5. So, in story mode, it will always be Halo 3 because I remember going home and I was like, yeah, I'm going to play this. And I asked my brother, he was 2 years younger than me. I was like, hey, do you want to play Halo? And he was like, nah, I'm going outside. And I was like, okay. Okay, I'll do this myself then. And I remember I was like, Arbiter was my brother.
Yep.
Alright, so let's move on to our next question here. So what are your thoughts on all the delays for Halo Infinite?
Halo Infinite was announced officially at E3 2018, and at that point, nobody really knew anything until the following year at E3 2019. Supposedly, the 2019 E3 footage that we saw was the actual opening to the game, but it kind of came down to July 2020. It was an Xbox event that was digital because of COVID. I'm not going to say the C word because maybe one day I'll get demonetized. People had a lot of mixed feelings about the gameplay trailer that was shown at the 2020 Xbox July reveal. A lot of people said, wow, this does not look next gen, this looks current gen. People had expectations built up so high.
It should look next gen.
Yes, indeed. Although they claim that the gameplay trailer was actually done on a PC. I want to say it was a month and a half after the July reveal. They came out and publicly said that the game was going to be delayed until 2021, which kind of rocked people's world. Some people were like, oh no, it's getting delayed, it's been so long, we need a new Halo game. Some people were like, yeah, something's up, something's wrong. And then other people were like, well, thank God, because, they need time to polish this, and obviously it's not ready. And if Microsoft's giving 343 the go to spend some more time on this game, then good for them. But my opinion on it is I am ecstatic. Maybe at the time of the delay announcement, I was a little upset just because I felt like Halo Infinite was in my grasp. Halo Infinite was supposed to release holiday 2020. It was marketed to release holiday 2020. Without the July reveal and the backlash and the criticism from that, it very well might have been released in fall 2020. People speculate that Halo Infinite was indeed content complete, but 343 decided that they were going to throw it back into the oven, polish and take people's criticisms, into consideration. A long time ago, Bonnie Ross, the executive of 343 Industries, said that it was kind of their promise to have a couple months prior to their game releases to have flighting and betas for the public to kind of use, and then 343 to kind of take in feedback and change and tweak things up until that point. We were not going to get that before the delay. 343 was kind of looking like they were kind of shrugging, like, I don't know. And that, in my opinion, would have been catastrophic to the multiplayer. Luckily, we have now, with the delay, been promised a beta and flighting that is speculated to start sometime in the summer, June, July, maybe even the beginning of August. But we are going to get flighting for Halo Infinite's multiplayer. Ultimately, I'm not upset about the delay, and I can wait until fall 2021 to play a polished, good Halo game.
I'm happy about that. I'm pretty happy with it. Alright, so for our next question, so what exactly is Halo? What did they do? Where were they created? And why?
So, the Halo array is comprised of 7 rings. I got a little bit of an Ariana Grande vibe just then. There are 7 rings, and they are really weapons of mass destruction. Halo rings are designed to destroy all sentient life in the galaxy. Once all 7 are fired, nothing survives. Everything is totally wiped out. In Halo lore, about 100,000 years ago, there was a advanced alien civilization known as the Forerunners. Forerunners ran into a problem, which was the Flood, and the Flood was a very dangerous and very large threat to the Forerunners through thousands of years, through countless worlds lost. The Forerunners basically got their Forerunner Congress together and said, what do? We are running out of options. But the winning side was, let's build this array of super weapons, so if it has to happen, it will happen. And it did happen. At one point in Halo lore, the rings were activated and literally everything in the galaxy died. Hi, it's Hunter from the future here, sitting here editing this video right now, and I just thought that I might add a little bits here because I think it really matters to Halo's timeline. I'm not going to go into exactly where the Flood came from because that's kind of like deep Halo lore and it's a lot to explain, but I do kind of want to touch on how big of a threat the Flood actually was. The Forerunners Empire spanned over like hundreds of thousands of worlds. They have been around for a long time. They were arguably the most advanced civilization in the Halo lore at that time. After a lengthy war with ancient humanity, the Forerunners were victorious, but they had kind of been exhausted a lot of their resources and a lot of time and a lot of energy into the war with ancient humanity. What the Forerunners did not realize is that ancient humanity was not attacking them to be aggressive. Ancient humanity was running across the galaxy to get away from the Flood that was taking over all of their worlds, and it was taken as an act of aggression by the Forerunners, so that's why they had a war. And by the time it was all said and done, ancient humanity was basically devolved by the Forerunners to go back to their most primitive state. The Flood was discovered by the Forerunners, and by that time it was kind of too late, and no matter what the Forerunners did or how technologically advanced that they actually were, they couldn't do anything about the spread of the Flood. It was said that 1,000 other ideas were tried and failed. Really, it came down to activating the Halo array. It was literally their last option. A gun pointed at the head of the universe, so to speak. One of my favorite parts about Halo lore is the actual conflict between the Forerunners and the Flood, but it's kind of the deeper Halo lore, but it does explain why the Halo rings like even exist in the first place. So I thought I'd just add that in there. Thank you. Continue watching.
I thought Halo was some sort of super weapon.
It is. If activated, this ring will cause destruction on a galactic scale.
They're super weapons.
Alright, mass death.
Yes.
Well, we're almost done here, so I figured we might as well get in a little bit of humor. Alright, so there's a claim floating around that Master Chief's suit actually jerks him off.
Say what?
And contrary to whatever you're about to tell me, I'm always going to believe that's the case.
That's your head canon. So, in past 2 years, I've seen that floating around a lot. It was kind of like a meme, like somebody trolling the Halo community, taking something out of the first Halo novel, The Fall of Reach, and kind of taking it out of context. I will just read the quote because I put it in here. In the page, Dr. Catherine Halsey addresses the benefactors of the Spartan 2 program, which developed the armor and power-ups for super soldiers like Master Chief and also the AI technology for his companion Cortana. In the middle of Halsey's explanation, one of the benefactors interrupts to ask, "Am I seeing this right? The groin region packs a sexual stimulant designed to reduce combat stress." Halsey answers by confirming that the suits contain this supposed stimulant. Let me just say that the Spartans were put through an extreme genetic and physical augmentation at the age of 14, which is kind of where you start to mature sexually. They were technically chemically castrated, and they have no libido. They don't have desires. There was only one Spartan 2 that ever went off to have a family, as far as I'm aware.
So there's a chance.
But that was a very rare instance. So no, it does not jerk him off, but it does give him a little something every once in a while.
You know he's thinking about Cortana while it's happening.
Sure.
Well, that was an informative ass day. What's up, Simba? Oh, you turned around before I pulled the trigger.
I got my radar, bro. Yeah, I like to talk about Halo. I like to play Halo. I think one of the biggest reasons I got good at Halo is because I used to always get my ass kicked in games. Thanks for asking me all these lovely questions, Nate. What do you have to say to the people watching this video?
I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did and you learned something. I definitely learned a good bit. I learned some things I didn't know.